All right, welcome everyone. Got the Greco-Roman Olympic team up here. I'll sort of introduce everyone. On the far end, we have Coach Lindland, head coach of the Greco-Roman program. To his left, Jesse Thielke, our 59-kilo Olympian. To his left, Andy Bisek, wrestles 75 kilos, two-time world bronze medalist for us. To his left right here, Provisor, wrestles 85 kilos. He is a two-time Olympian now. And right here is Robbie Smith, our 130-kilo wrestler. So how we'll do this, I'll ask each one of these gentlemen a question, and then we'll open it up to questions to you guys. So I will start. I'll start at the end with Jesse. Jesse, you've excelled at all three styles of wrestling growing up. You're one of the few guys up here who's wrestled at the NCAA D1 level. Can you and you bring one of the most exciting wrestling styles to Greco-Roman. What excites you the most about Greco and wrestling in the games?
For me personally, I just love going out there and scoring points. When I step on the mat and the whistle blows, score, be scored on. That's kind of how I roll. So my favorite thing is to, throw a guy for 5, get his feet going over his head, at least as many fours as I can, push the pace. I want to get the crowd into it. I want to get people excited. Not a lot of people are excited when they watch Greco-Roman wrestling, and I hope to change that.
Next, I'll go to Ben. Ben, you've competed at the Olympics in 2012. The last few years you've had your ups and downs. And ultimately you're back at the pinnacle again. What have these last few years since your Olympics been like for you? The difficulties of making your second team, and what's the difference this time around?
Well, it's definitely a big difference. I'm up at 85 kilos. I'm 24 pounds heavier. The biggest thing for me, is just being healthy. The last few years, I've been in a situation where I couldn't really get to where I needed to be. I couldn't do what I loved because I was injured. So it was very, very nice to be able to train for 4.5 months for this and get ready and just become more mature as a human being. I feel like I'm ready to take every moment on in this games and try to win an Olympic gold medal.
Thanks, Ben. I'll go to Robbie Smith here. Robbie, you bring life and exuberance to the mat when you wrestle. Large personality, your appearance is phenomenal. And also you're at the highest caliber of wrestling. You've wrestled for a medal last year, seconds away from a world medal. Can you talk about the life you bring to the sport, and how much wrestling is a part of you, and how much you enjoy it?
I'm just here to be an ambassador for the sport. Greco-Roman wrestling is my life, has been for the last 24 years. I'm just proud to be an Olympian, proud to represent this beautiful United States of America. And it's been a dream of mine to do this, and I just be myself. That's all I am. And if that's how I bring life to the sport, that's what I do. I don't change my personality for anything, and just roll through it.
We'll go over to Andy Bisek. Andy, you're a two-time defending bronze medalist. You're a leader of this U.S. Greco-Roman program. How have you dealt with those expectations that you have upon you this year, and how do you plan on jumping from a bronze level to a gold level in one of the toughest weights contested in the games this year?
Well, I try not to, think about the past. That's all behind me, and continue to work forward to, getting that gold. And so I'm trying not to put any pressure on myself as far as what I've done in the past, and know that any tournament is a new day and anything can happen. So you need to prepare just as harder to get the expectations that you want.
All right, last one for Coach Lindland at the end. Coach, you've been an Olympic medalist before. You've had success on this stage. Can you shed some light on the journey that these 4 athletes have taken over this year to get to this point, and what they need to do to be successful come competition day?
Yeah, I think these gentlemen right here in front of you are
they're authentic guys. They all bring their own personality. They all bring their own style, and that's encouraged. In the way they wrestle and the way they live their lives. They're all out here. They don't, because they love the sport. They don't make it to this level without the passion and the desire to compete at the highest level, and that's why they're here, and that's why they're going to be successful this weekend at the games.
Perfect. I'll now open it up to the floor for questions. Raise your hand, identify yourself, and get you a microphone here.
Gary D'Amato, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. This question is for Jesse and Ben. If you guys could both answer it. 50% of the Greco team is from Wisconsin, and I know you guys are representing your country and yourselves and your families, but you're also representing Wisconsin wrestling. Can you talk about what it means to have two guys from Wisconsin here, and what you hope to show the world about wrestling, got wrestlers from Wisconsin?
Me and Ben have known each other for a long time. We take great pride in being from Wisconsin, as it's one of the most decorated states when it comes to Olympians. And so we've known each other for a long time. We've been working for this for years and years and years. We've been on junior teams together. So this is no surprise to us. This is nothing new. We're excited to be here. We're excited to embrace each other as brothers on our long journey, as we all do, but it's a little extra something special knowing we're both from the Badger State. And we have great expectations of ourselves. We're ready to come, we're ready to game for that gold medal, and that's all that really matters. And if we can bring home those medals and that glory and that gold to both the United States of America, obviously, and our home state of Wisconsin, we'd be very happy, very excited.
Yeah, like you said, when Jesse first moved to Colorado Springs, me and him were roommates for 2 years, and growing up, we knew each other were going to be very successful in whatever style we did. And you talk about Wisconsin wrestling and Greco, we've been great in Greco for a long time. Bisek's from Minnesota too, so the Midwest is very well represented on this Greco-Roman team. They'd have, maybe it's just body style or how we wrestle. There's a lot of tough guys that end up being on our Greco teams. So Wisconsin makes tough people, and I'll be happy to represent. And hopefully, I can come back with a medal just like my coach did in 1996. So I'm just excited to represent the United States, excited to represent Wisconsin, and put on a show for everybody.
All right, yeah, we'll go right here.
Hi, Rachel Blount from Minneapolis Star Tribune. My question is for Andy. Could you tell us a little bit about how the training went while you guys stayed behind in Colorado Springs, and also how the team stayed connected to the Olympics while you were still back in the U.S.?
Yeah, we stayed in Colorado Springs until the 10th, and the training from when the other teams came down here, I think they got here the 3rd or so. So from the extra time we stayed down there, we had a full week of practices that we were really kind of finishing our last preparations, and then during the opening ceremonies we had a celebration in downtown Colorado Springs that was really nice to kind of be a part of and still be connected to the games, even though we weren't here. We wore our opening ceremonies attire and just had a nice relaxed time at home, and we were only up there involved for maybe an hour or 2 hours, and then we're able to go home and just kind of relax, and I really enjoyed it. So.
A question up front.
Brian Van Clay, Win Wrestling Magazine. Coach Lindland, can you unpack that a little bit more for us in regards to the decision to stay there? And just obviously it was a strategic one. There was a lot of press about accommodations here not being what some of the U.S. athletes were used to. Can you talk a little bit more about the peaking and tapering phase for this team?
Yeah, there's always a lot of unknowns and variables when you're traveling overseas, you're traveling anywhere, We heard the press and all that stuff. We didn't really get involved in that. This was a plan we put in place months and months in advance. Probably right after the World Championships, we started talking about this plan, and the athletes have all bought into it. They have owned it as their plan, and of course, it is a lot nicer, like Andy said, to be able to sleep in your bed, spend time with your family, train in your own wrestling room, be around, each other, and because the Greco-Roman program is more than just a team; it's a family, and these guys live and train together on a daily basis. And it was a great opportunity to not only to be a part of the Olympic movement, but do it in front of their hometown. All these gentlemen live in Colorado Springs. This is their home, so taking them out of that environment early and putting them in a lot of stress just isn't what you need. I mean, my job is to help these guys any way I can, and that's my role, and I felt like eliminating as many distractions as possible was a benefit.
Any other questions?
Hi, Robbie. I'm Jessica Gary from NBC Bay Area, so your hometown is the Bay Area. I know that when you were little, you wrote that paper saying that your big wish, your dream was to make it to the Olympics. How do you feel now that you're here at the cusp of that?
It's amazing. It's a lifelong dream coming true. So, I still have one more job to do it, but I get to do it with my best friends, and these guys are my teammates and my brothers, and it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to represent the United States, and I'm just blessed right now. So I'm just happy, and I'm ready to roll. Excited. We're all eager to wrestle. We have been home training very hard for a long time, and it's go time. So we're ready to get on that mat and show the world what we have.
Go right here, and then we'll come back to you.
This is for Ben. Two quick questions. One, you mentioned the coach you had that won an Olympic medal. And could you talk a little bit about Dennis Hall and his influence on you when you were growing up? One of the greatest Greco wrestlers our country's ever produced. And then a follow-up, if you're comfortable, could you share a little more about your injury challenges? I'm not sure people are quite understanding the fact that it wasn't a little deal, that you really had to go through a lot.
Well, yeah, so Dennis Hall, he's meant everything to me. Anybody that's from Wisconsin or in the U.S. knows who Dennis Hall is. He's a 3-time Olympian, could have been a 4-timer. He's one of the 7 3-time Olympians in the U.S. He meant everything to me, just his passion and love for this sport. When I started training again, I came back and started training with him again, and he just, drove me to be this successful. He made me as tough as I am, and I couldn't thank him enough for I've been with him since I was 6 years old. I've been with Agassi Manoukian since I was 13. There's people, Troy Steiner at Advanced. There's people in my life that I feel God put in place for me so I can perform on this stage. And as far as my injuries go, in 2012, my nerve was sliced. It was pretty much kinked like a garden hose. I had to get surgery on that on my L5 and S1 nerve. So I had back surgery, and then I had a sports hernia in 2013 I had to get operated on. In 2014 I had a grade 3 tear in my hamstring. 2015 I came back healthy finally again, then I snapped my RCL and my forearm tendon off the bone. So my first tournament back in 2015 was Nationals in December, and then Trials was my next tournament. So Trials was my second healthy tournament that I had competed in since 2012. So it definitely wasn't a short road. It was a lot of spending hours in the recovery room and with the sports psych and sports med people. So it was a journey. There's a lot of people that I can thank, that got me to this point.
Jesse, you performed so well at the trials and then had to go to Turkey, I believe, and qualify your weight class. Can you talk about what that did for your confidence to run through the trials the way you did and then go get it done in Turkey?
Obviously, establishing my dominance in the United States on home soil was a big deal to me. I had never reached that pinnacle over those guys. I had taken second the year before Spencer, so it felt really good to go in and dominate the way that I did, and I carried that over into my international competition, which I'm much more comfortable with because those guys open up and wrestle against me, which is the biggest mistake they could ever make. So going over there and not performing that well in Mongolia, having to come back and make scratch weight a third time in 6 weeks, mentally was a big deal for me to be able to conquer that mountain, and just to go out and perform the way that I did against those somewhat older but still established world and Olympic medalists. It felt really good knowing that my style, my flow that I had developed and created over the years was just as effective as I had hoped it was going to be. So now I'm pretty much sitting at the top of the perch, ready to strike and be ready.
Any others?
Yeah, Jesse and Andy, Robbie has answered this question, and Ben has been to the Olympics before, but can you talk to this press when you got to the airport, or was there a moment where it's like, we are here, I'm an Olympian, this is what we've been training for? Can you both answer that question of when it maybe seemed real once you got down here?
I don't know, maybe that I haven't really tried to, kind of maybe tried not to have that moment yet. I'm just trying to stay focused. I've wrestled in a lot of tournaments, and one more tournament, however big it is, it's not, shouldn't affect me. I do look forward to, after competing, kind of getting out, looking around, really embracing it and enjoying the moment.
Pretty much on the same page. That moment hasn't hit. It will never hit because this is just another competition to me. I expect to be here. I expect to go compete for gold. That will never change in all my years of wrestling. The only thing that was really kind of nice is I got to see my entire family at the airport in Houston and sit by them on the flight here. Again, we look forward to doing touristy, that kind of stuff once we're done competing, but until then we do not care about anything else. Nothing else matters.
All right, why don't we'll take one more question, and then we'll invite you all up to do a breakdown with each of our athletes, if you'd like.
Ben, what did you learn about yourself in London 4 years ago?
Honestly, I was just a little kid last time I made the Olympic team. I was 21 when I won the trials. I was 22 when I wrestled. I think, our plan to, not go to opening ceremonies was a great one. Because I know it sucked not to be in it, but in 2012 I walked for 4 hours. My back was killing me, and I think staying at home and being in our comfortable zone was the right thing to do in that situation. As far as this Olympic goes in 2012, I just didn't have. I think I was awestruck by all the distractions. I made an Olympic team. It was my dream to be there, and I felt like, I wasn't really in the moment like all of us are now. All of us right now are concentrated on, winning every single position at one time. So once our matches are done, we'll do the touristy stuff. But I think everybody's ready to go. And 2012, I think we might not have had the right plan, but now I think this team is ready to go win 4 medals.
All right, thanks everyone. Journalists, if you want to come up, I'll have our athletes stay here. You can just come up to the edge and ask individual one-on-one questions if you'd like.